Hello everyone, and welcome back to True Crime Mysteries. Today we have our February Crimes of the Month video. In our Crimes of the Month series, we cover updates from previous cases, notable crimes covered in the news, and crime-related things that happened this month. As always, your friendly reminder to please give this video a like if you like the content, and subscribe for more if you haven't already, because I make more content like this. This month, we'll be discussing a few heavy topics that YouTube does not like being discussed, so I am happy to thank our sponsor for today's video, June's Journey. June's Journey is a free-to-download and super fun hidden object mystery game that is set in the 1920s. I play it on my phone, but it is also available on tablets and desktop through Facebook Games. Find hidden objects among glamorous scenes that have incredible artwork with beautiful details, with captivating storylines that will keep you engaged. I've been having a blast playing this to relax. It is just challenging enough to keep me focused, but not so challenging that it's too difficult. I've been playing when I need to take a research break, and it's been great. In the game, you uncover clues to solve a mystery, and each clue helps you progress in the story and solve the crime. Part of the game is also decorating and restoring an abandoned estate. As you progress, you unlock more areas that can be personalized, and there are tons of different decoration options available. Use my link in the description box to download June's Journey for free today and get started. June's Journey is available through iOS mobile devices, Android, and PC through Facebook Games. Thank you again to June's Journey for sponsoring this video, and with that being said, let's get into it. Octaviano Juarez-Corro arrested after 16 years.
We have received ongoing information throughout the years. At this time, we have received more information, but we're asking for people's help in this case because we do know he has family and friends still here in the Milwaukee area.
Milwaukee Police Acting Chief Jeff Norman says naming Juarez-Corro as a top federal fugitive could bring long-awaited justice to the victims and their families.
I was on the homicide unit at the time, so having that burned in your head in regards to the heinous acts that took place that day does give it the level of urgency and importance in regards to having these efforts put forth.
We don't give up. We're not going to stop until we find him.
Not long ago in January, we covered 3 fugitives on the FBI's most wanted list, and one of those suspects was Octaviano Juarez-Corro. He was wanted for murder in Milwaukee for shooting 3 and killing 2 individuals in 2006. The attack stemmed from a disagreement he had with his ex-wife over custody of his young daughter. He had fled the area, and for 16 years he was on the run, and this month he was captured. It had been thought that Juarez-Corro had fled to Mexico, and those suspicions were confirmed when he was spotted in Zapopan, Guadalajara, Mexico. It had been a tip from the public that allowed the FBI to capture him. Special Agent Michael Hensel said in a statement, Octaviano Juarez-Corro spent the last 16 years running from law enforcement, hiding in another country and believing time and distance was on his side. The FBI has a long reach and extraordinary law enforcement partnerships across the globe. I commend the tireless efforts of all our partners from Milwaukee to Mexico in closely coordinating with the FBI in capturing this wanted fugitive and helping to bring this violent offender to justice, as well as closure to the victims and their families. This is another instance proving that discussing these cold cases and keeping them in the public eye is an excellent tool for getting these cold cases solved. Drew Peterson asked to vacate murder conviction. I know a lot of you have been asking for a Drew Peterson update and how he's doing in prison, and we have a small update. The link will be in the bio if you want to get caught up on that case. Drew Peterson had fired his legal team after he was convicted of the murder of Kathleen Savio. He was sentenced to 38 years in prison in that case and has filed a petition to vacate the conviction. He has been given a court-appointed attorney and investigator to assist him in filing the paperwork, but it is his allegations that he did not have effective legal counsel because he was not allowed to testify on his own defense. In his 6-page handwritten motion, he has also alleged prosecutorial misconduct with witness intimidation by State's Attorney James Glasgow, the same man he had attempted to have killed while in prison. The judge on this case has put the hearing for this motion to May 18th. Missing mother Alexis Ware. A 29-year-old mother in South Carolina has not been seen since January 30th. She was last seen around 8 p.m. at a 7-Eleven in Anderson. She was reported missing 2 days later on February 1st when her family couldn't get in contact with her. Her vehicle, a red 2019 Honda Accord Sport, was located in McCormick County. The car was abandoned in a remote area 60 miles from where she had last been seen. A search team of law enforcement and canine experts were deployed and completed a 222-acre grid investigation in the area surrounding the car, but nothing was found. A helicopter search was also conducted in the surrounding area, but there was nothing connecting to Ware found. Her mother said this in a statement to the media.
The very thing that we actually worry about, it actually happened to us. I don't know what to do. She means the world to the entire family. When I wake up, that's all that's on my mind. When I lay down, I hate to even go to sleep thinking that I'm sleeping peaceful and she's somewhere out there.
Her family is extremely concerned about her whereabouts. Anyone with information is encouraged to call the Anderson County Sheriff's Office. Foster parents arrested for exploiting their foster children. This is a really horrible story, but one that needs more exposure because the foster care system is broken. These kids deserve to be better protected than this. This is still a developing story, but here's what we know so far. In 2018, 51-year-old Cherise Mitchell applied to be a foster parent in New York City. On her application, she said she was not living with her husband, 38-year-old Kareem Mitchell, who was a registered sex offender, even though he was registered to be living at that address. Cherise was accepted as a foster parent and began taking placements for children. Kareem had been convicted of trafficking a minor in 2008. He had served 5 years in prison for that conviction, and upon his release, he had been required to register. Shortly after Cherise had fostered children placed in her care, Kareem began to place ads on online prostitution sites. So far, 8 victims have come forward, alleging that they were physically abused and were forced by Cherise and Kareem Mitchell to participate in prostitution. Kareem bragged about his exploits on social media, calling it his pimp lifestyle. The couple was indicted and arrested on February 9th. They were both charged with sex trafficking, 4th-degree conspiracy, and 3rd-degree promoting prostitution. Kareem was also charged with 2nd-degree aggravated harassment.
You were doing this with foster children? Is that correct? Do you have anything to say?
What are you doing?
Manhattan District Attorney said in a statement, "Sex traffickers target the most vulnerable New Yorkers, including, far too often, young New Yorkers in the child welfare system. As alleged, instead of providing a safe home, this husband and wife forced 8 young women to engage in prostitution. We will continue to prioritize proactive investigations like these to dismantle sex trafficking operations and keep New Yorkers safe." Kareem showed up to his first court appearance wearing a shirt that says "Make money, not friends," and both have pleaded not guilty. Kareem will be held in prison while he waits trial. Bond for Cherise was set at $500,000 cash. A spokesperson for the city's Administration for Children's Services, the agency involved in screening potential foster parents, have said they are fully cooperating with the investigation. Dallas police install new digital billboard with sketch of suspect in the 2014 murder of Daniel Conley. At around 10:20 p.m. on December 12, 2014, 38-year-old Daniel Conley was stabbed and killed outside a bar in downtown Dallas. Conley had been with a group of friends and was walking home from a night out. At some point, the group got into a verbal disagreement with a man driving in a car. The man in the vehicle was said to have driven off, but came back shortly after, parked, and approached Conley before stabbing him, getting back in his vehicle and driving off. The suspect was driving a 2005 Ford Mustang and is described as Caucasian or Latino, 6'2", weighing 240 to 260 pounds. The Dallas Police Department teamed up with the nonprofit Seasons of Justice to fund the new billboard, which highlights the sketch and the text, "Do you recognize this man?" and hope it will get this cold case solved. Real estate agent Willy Suarez Maceo arrested after killing at least 3 homeless men. The Miami Police Department has arrested a suspected serial killer in an ongoing case that proves you can't judge a book by its cover. The suspect, Willy Suarez Maceo, is a 25-year-old real estate agent formerly with the Century 21 real estate brokerage. On his Instagram page, Maceo posted photos of his listings, posed with luxury vehicles, and shared aspirational quotes. Now he's facing attempted murder and murder charges in the deaths of multiple homeless men.
It surprises me anytime someone commits a crime of this kind. I'm surprised. If it's someone who doesn't have a criminal history or someone who, it would be harder to explain. That makes it all the more shocking.
At around 8 p.m. on Tuesday, December 21st, 2021, a witness flagged down a Miami police officer who was patrolling the area of 400 Southwest 2nd Avenue. Nearby, they found a homeless man suffering from what appeared to be blunt force trauma to the head. The injury was later determined to be a gunshot wound. The victim was taken to the hospital in extremely critical condition, and he later died of his injuries. Less than 2 hours later, another witness called 911 after finding an unresponsive person on the ground in Miami's Wynwood area, near Miami Avenue and 21st Street. The victim was another homeless man who had also been shot. By the time first responders arrived, he was deceased.
Tuesday, December 21st, at approximately 8 p.m., we had a witness that flagged down one of our police officers that was on patrol in the area of 400 Southwest 2nd Avenue, and advised the officer there was a victim that appeared to be suffering from blunt trauma to the head. The investigation quickly revealed that the victim was suffering from a gunshot wound to the head. Requested rescue. That individual is in extreme critical condition and is being treated at Jackson Memorial Hospital in trauma. As this investigation was unfolding down very near to where we are right here at the administration building, very close, 2 hours later, at approximately 9:57 p.m. at Miami Avenue and 21st Street, units responded, reference a 911 call where a complainant saw a victim unresponsive on the ground. Units arrived and discovered a black male deceased from an apparent shotgun wound.
According to the Miami Herald, the second victim was identified as 56-year-old Antonio Price. Detectives then pieced together physical evidence from both crime scenes and, with the help of ballistic experts, confirmed that the same gun was used in both shootings. Officers quickly connected the two incidences, not only because of the short span in between the two shootings, but because both incidents involved victims that were homeless, said Police Chief Morales. Investigators obtained surveillance footage from the scene of the second shooting, which showed a person in a dark car pulling up beside the victim who was sleeping on the street and shooting him multiple times. The police then were able to identify the make, model, and license plate of the vehicle from the surveillance footage, which led them to Maceo. Maceo was arrested on Thursday, December 23, 2021. Police told CBS Miami that they had Maceo in jail on a trespassing charge, which they say was a whole other fascinating story, but released no further details. At the time of his arrest, Maceo was in possession of a 9mm Glock pistol that had a matching caliber to the firearm used in the murders. Police also recovered the car and the shell casings believed to be used in the crimes. After police took Maceo into custody, one of the lead investigators noticed a resemblance between him and a man who was wanted for a similar murder that occurred 2 months prior. On October 16, 2021, a homeless man was found brutally stabbed to death in downtown Miami. The victim was identified as 59-year-old Manuel Perez. Soon after, the police released a bulletin with a photo of the suspect and their car, which bore a striking resemblance to Maceo. The fact that this particular person preyed on the most vulnerable in our community is particularly upsetting, said Mayor Suarez. According to the Miami Herald, an incident from Maceo's past may shed some light on his personal life beyond what he posted online. A year and a half before his arrest, Maceo's parents called 911 due to a mental health crisis. They reported their bipolar son was acting strangely, refusing to take his medication, and talking about conspiracies while racking the side of his Glock pistol. Maceo was placed under an involuntary psychiatric evaluation and his gun was seized. The gun was returned to him 72 hours later after the department's legal bureau decided there was insufficient evidence to grant a risk protection order, which would have removed the gun from Maceo's possession for another year. However, even if the risk protection order was granted, he would have gotten his gun back before the attacks on the homeless began. On December 24, 2021, Maceo was charged with 1 count of premeditated attempted murder. On January 24, 2022, he was arraigned and pleaded not guilty to the charge. In February, charges relating to the other 2 victims, Antonio Price and Manuel Perez, were also added. Police Chief Morales said their investigators worked for almost 48 hours straight to identify and arrest Maceo.
They felt the pain, they felt the injustice that the victims had suffered at the hands of this cruel individual and this senseless crime. And through their diligent efforts, were able to successfully apprehend a violent criminal that's no longer on the streets of Miami.
Police Chief Morales said there may be more victims and is encouraging anyone with information to reach out to the Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers at 301-471-8477. Convicted murderer Michael Floyd Wilson has escaped prison 3 times and was recaptured again after 72 hours on the lam. Escaping prison should be an impossible feat, but somehow Michael Floyd Wilson has managed it 3 times in the past 2 decades. His first escape was in 2001. At the time, he was only being held in a county jail on a burglary charge. In 2015, he was convicted for beating 2 men to death in 2014 and sentenced to 2 life sentences. His second escape was 2018, and he was recaptured 2 days later, having only gotten 70 miles from the prison. This time, he escaped from the Central Mississippi Correctional Facility on February 12th, and the escape went undetected for almost 12 hours. During that time, he had hopped the fence and sustained a bad cut from the prison's barbed wire. He went to a neighbor and told them that he was an FBI agent and had gotten in a motorcycle accident. He had received treatment at a nearby hospital using a fake name. He was discharged from the hospital a little while later. He then went to an auto body shop, and police had been called because he was refusing to leave the premises and his hand was still bleeding and he was scaring employees. He was taken to the hospital again, this time a different hospital, and again he used a fake name. Because the prison hadn't discovered he was missing yet, no one knew to be on the lookout for an escaped prisoner. When he was discharged from the hospital for a second time, he committed an assault and carjacking in Jackson County. On February 13th, the prison finally realized Wilson was missing and alerted surrounding authorities. He was then caught the next day with the vehicle he had carjacked, 130 miles from the prison. Authorities said in a statement that Wilson had been incorrectly housed at a minimum security prison and would be relocated to the maximum security prison.
12 employees are now on administrative leave following the escape.
He should have not been classified to be in population. He was closed custody all the way. Anybody that escaped twice from you before, and the last time within 2 years, should have been in a cell.
Wilson will now go to Walnut Grove, a high-security facility.
He'll have a hard time getting away from us there. Won't happen again.
Kane says this is actually Wilson's 3rd time breaking out of a prison or jail cell since 2001, and they'll investigate to find out how it could have happened this time.
We have taken corrective action, and we're shocked, cells and appalled. Thank God no one was injured or hurt.
LA nun embezzled $835,000 from Catholic school to fuel gambling addiction. Sister Mary Margaret Kruper retired in the summer of 2018. The 80-year-old Catholic nun had been a teacher and then principal at St. James Catholic School in Torrance, California for nearly 30 years. At the school, she was known to be a strict teacher and a harsh disciplinarian. Upon her retirement, her replacement started to notice some inconsistencies in some of the bookkeeping records. For years, the school had been steadily declining. There hadn't been room in the budget for many of the upgrades and maintenance costs. Despite increases in tuitions and charitable donations, there never seemed to be enough money in the budget to replace textbooks. An auditor was called in when it was discovered that several tuition checks had been deposited into a bank account not associated with the school. The only person who had exclusive control of depositing tuition fees and donations had been Kruper. In addition to that, as the principal, she also took responsibility for managing the school's bank accounts and the bank accounts set up to handle the living expenses of the other nuns who work there. Several red flags were uncovered in the initial audit, which prompted the archdiocese to hire a forensic auditor to do a deeper investigation of the money. They uncovered improper handling of funds that went back as far as a decade when Kruper had taken over as principal. Funds had been managed in a complicated way, keeping everything separate. Only someone able to see all of the accounts would be able to see the missing money. The school also had never gone in the red, so it had never prompted an external review or audit. Another nun was also discovered to be in on the scheme, Sister Lana Chang, who is also a teacher at St. James. The FBI became involved and interviewed the two nuns who fully admitted to stealing money from the school. The Catholic Church declined to press charges on the two women, but the FBI, the IRS, and local law enforcement decided to go forward with criminal charges. It was discovered that $835,000 had gone towards funding lavish trips to Lake Tahoe, Las Vegas, and Reno, and had been spent on gambling. In addition to the missing money, it was also discovered that she had been altering school records to hide the misappropriation of funds, with a bulk of the tampering occurring when she learned that she would be retiring at the end of the school year in 2018. She was charged in 2021 with 1 count of wire fraud and 1 count of money laundering. She pleaded guilty to the charges. Chang was never charged in connection to the fraud. On February 7th, Kruper was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in federal prison. Additionally, she would need to receive counseling for the gambling addiction and was ordered to pay back all the money stolen. Kruper said in a statement to the courts, "I have sinned, I have broken the laws, and I have no excuse. My actions were in violation of my vows, my commandments, the law, and above all else, the sacred trust that so many people had placed in me. I was wrong, and I'm so profoundly sorry for the pain and suffering I've caused so many people." Well, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for your support with Danielle helping out. I have really appreciated it. And thank you so much for everyone who commented on topics that they wanted covered this month. Anyways, as always, please give this video a thumbs up if you like the content and subscribe for more if you haven't already. If you've done all that and want to support me and the channel, we have channel membership as well as Patreon to get early access, members-only content, and more. We also have merch and other goodies in the description box, as well as links to all my socials. But until then, I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.